Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we are going to be getting into some fun banter as we take a look at the We Knives Banter, designed by the one and only Ben Peterson, formerly of Blade HQ, now off on his own, doing his own things, making things happen, and this is his recent creation, a collaboration with We, and a very, very, very nice little knife that just screams Ben all over the place. We're going to touch on all that. But before I even get into specs, let it be known, I'm going to do my best effort to give this the Ben review, which, if you guys know Ben, it's going to be very detailed and very sincere, and I hope I do a good job of this. So here we go. First, we got some specs. Overall length of 6.5 inches, blade length of 2.875 inches, well under that 3-inch mark that so many of you guys like. Blade width at 1 inch, blade thickness at 0.1. Behind the edge, I had right around 15.5 to 16 thousandths, so a very nice little slicey blade with a flat grind made of CPM S35VN, spear point design, handle length of 3.625 inches, handle width at 1.125 inches, handle thickness at 0.45 inches, with G10, total weight of 2.61 ounces, right hand only, tip-up carry. And we'll touch on that a little later too, because that is another little Ben accent that I'm personally a big fan of. And this is coming in at a very, very reasonable $108. That price is good to go. No ifs, ands, or buts. All good with me. So real quick, let's do some size comparisons here. Really the only two comparisons we need to see here. We have the Civivi Elementum and the Benchmade Bug Out. Everyone knows how big those guys are. Everyone can relate to these. And as you can see, it's a pretty small knife in length, but it's not small in hand. And we'll get to those details more here in a bit. A mini Benchmade Bug Out would have been a better comparison than the full-size Bug Out. But I'm going to say this right now. Now that I have this guy, I have absolutely no need to ever spend that much money on a Benchmade Bug Out, which I believe is $135 or more than that. I just have absolutely no need to get one now because this is that good. So let's set this aside and let's set this aside. And let's get into this really, really cool, very, very well thought out knife. And to really appreciate this knife, you do have to know Ben. And I'm not personally. I've never met the guy. I just know him from his time at Blade HQ, and I follow him on Instagram. And the two things that really stick out when I think of Ben is detailed and sincere. If you've ever seen his posts on Instagram, they're never just one-liners. They're 2-3 paragraphs. And I love that. It's great because he wants to get his point across. He wants to put good, deep thought into everything, and I really appreciate that. And you definitely see a lot about that, a lot about him come off on this knife, and I really, really appreciate that. First off, let's start with the blade. As we already got the specs, so we know it's slicey, we know it's thin, we know it's everything Ben likes, and of course, it meets his patented finger test, which I'm sure everyone's well aware of. A little story about the finger test. He was actually one of the first names that I got to know when I got into the knife community, because I've only been into it now for about probably going on 6 years, 5.5, approaching 6 years. And I obviously, Blade HQ being such a big retail outlet and having a great website, I kind of paid a lot of attention there because they had good content. They had a lot of things to look into. They were a lot more than just listing knives for sale online. And I think Ben played a really big part of that. But in an episode of Knife Banter, they interviewed Jesper Voxness. And in that interview, that is kind of where Ben gives the details of his finger test. And what he used to do is draw little things for his kids on paper, and he would kind of put his finger here and cut it out, which is pretty cool. And it's just, again, it's the little personal touch. It's that level of thoughtfulness, and anytime someone does something for their family, for their kids, it says a lot about him, and he's always voicing little things like that. So that's where the finger test came from, and that's just really cool and thoughtful. Probably memories that his kids will carry on when they get older. That's the kind of stuff that they'll think of him as he gets older. It kind of makes me think about things that my grandpa did for me. So just a really cool little fact. The spine angle on this has good enough to strike a ferro rod. So and that's going back to his days as a Boy Scout. So I've actually never done it, but I've seen people do it all the time. You have this little rod, and you have to start a fire. You have to have an edge that's acute enough, sharp enough to strike that ferro rod and spark it to get a burst onto whatever brush or kindle you're trying to light. And that is good for that. So that's really cool. Another personal touch from Ben's experiences and stuff that he's done. The spine of the knife, he claimed, is also good enough to tighten the mount on a tripod. Now, I do believe that, but I had to check it for myself, and I had because I'm actually a photographer, so I have a Benro tripod here, and this one, he's correct in saying that you can use the spine. This one kind of sucks because the collar around the slot wouldn't let me get it all the way in there. But to confirm what he's saying, you can use it depending on your tripod. I have a Manfrotto tripod at my buddy's house, and I was over there this weekend, and I had this in my pocket, and I did indeed use this to try and tighten the mount, and it worked. So that's really cool. And again, that goes back to his time as a videographer, an extra little add-in that he enjoyed, and that's actually a really nice add-in because there's a lot of times I don't ever carry change. Usually when I'm shooting, I'm out in Montana or I'm in nature somewhere. I'm not by somewhere where I can just go grab a coin, and I usually don't carry coins because I hate change. So, but I always have a knife. So this knife is going to get a lot of pocket time for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. On to the handle and ergos of this guy. The jimping on the liner lock here. I really like it for a couple reasons. One, it sticks out, and it's aggressive enough to where you feel it. I don't know how much of a difference it really makes in actual grip. You do feel the jimping here, and that's nice. I wish there was more jimping going up, probably like just past the thumb stud. That'd be perfect for my hand anyway. But anyway, the jimping here on the liner lock, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really help with your grip, but it makes it a lot easier to close the knife, which, as you can see, that happened pretty easily, which is very nice. We'll touch more on that here in a second. But no, so that's very nice. The G10 on the inside is, if you look close, you can see on the top, there's no liner on the top anyway. That's really nice. Now there's a little insert right here you can see to just kind of help hold the screws in place that are coming in on the sides for these two back little standoffs, but there's no full liner, and I like that because we all know G10 is plenty strong enough, and it's just unnecessary. So it probably helps with weight a little, and it just looks nicer. And then on the side, on the liner side, you have a liner that is constructed really well, and it's just very simple, and it gets the job done. So that's very nice. Now the pocket clip, we're going to highlight the pocket clip. We're going to take a real good long look at this pocket clip because this is pocket clip perfection. And it's not news to anyone. If you guys saw any of the kind of the teasers and the previews of this knife, you knew there was greatness in this pocket clip because we have a recessed clip, recessed screws, a ramp good enough to go up pretty much any jeans. You have to have ridiculously thick hems on your pockets for that not to go on. So as far as I'm concerned, that's good for anything I have, so I'm happy with it. And just a perfect thickness, great tension. It's the perfect pocket clip, and it's simple. It works. It's just what it's been. Nice little banter name, which is cool because it takes away from having to put it on the blade up here, which is really nice. I love the minimal branding on the blade. I always like minimal branding, and I'm probably always going to point that out when I see it on a blade because I really, really enjoy that. You got the "What is up, guys" symbol on here. S35VN blade mark, which is awesome, and a nice little touch of blue. I didn't get the blue handle because I wasn't sure if I liked that shade of blue. I saw a couple other videos from much more popular YouTubers that got some, I don't know if it was a prototype or a first run. I think it was a first run. And the blue just looked a little dingy to me. So I decided to pass on that. And I'm really glad I kind of regretted it at first because as I saw more and more pictures of it, I thought, yeah, that blue was starting to look better and better. But I love this black. I really do like this black and the black blade. It's not a purely coated blade. It's a nice black wash. I really don't like fully black coated blades, but I am starting to be more of a fan of the black wash blades. Going back to the steel wheel aviator, this knife, and one or two other ones that I've come across this year, I've started to take a liking to the black wash. So that's really nice. It's very pleasant to look at, and it goes together very well. The overall lines and curves of the knife are nice, and I wasn't a big fan at first. The more I looked at it, though, the more, especially just certain angles, it just nice and straight along the top with a nice curve there, and I wasn't sure how I'd like the ergos on this handle. More at the top up here. The back is great because I don't mind small. I like bigger knives, but I don't mind small knives, especially when they sit in my hand to where I can kind of nestle the bottom of the knife with my pinky. So I don't feel like it's gonna slide through like that, because that's how you cut yourself. So I definitely like this hold here because I know it's not going anywhere. I have a closing at the bottom of my hand well enough to where if I want to stab it into some wood or jab something for some reason, who knows why, it won't slip through my hands and cut me. So that's nice. And then this little ramp up here helps give you a more solid grip so it doesn't slide through. And I wasn't sure how this would feel. I wasn't sure if this curvature here would kind of just mash all my fingers together and I would feel like I'm, holding the inside of a ring or something, but it doesn't. It feels really good. I always love seeing a finger choil on a knife. I always like seeing a finger choil. I've never had a finger choil on a knife that I didn't like. But on this one, I don't really miss the finger choil, which was a surprise to me. I just about any knife I hold in my hand that doesn't have a finger choil, I'm like, man, it'd be nice if they threw a finger choil on there somehow, or at least a way for me to choke up, because you really can't choke up. I mean, I guess you could, but you really don't want to choke up on this knife. But that's fine with me because you can still get right under the handle and you're there. So that's very nice. And lastly, because of the clip, no left-hand carry because, let's just be honest, it wouldn't have looked good. G10, you have to mold it, form it in there, whatever, so you just have a big rectangle here where this would sit. And that's a pretty decent sized little mold area there that they would have to push in to get the clip on this side. And considering that I think the number is like 10% of the knife community is left-hand carry, he decided to bypass that for aesthetics. And, again, that's Ben. He didn't want that little eyesore on the knife, and I don't blame him because this looks a million times better with just a screw here. And left-handers can still carry this. I understand you pull it out and you got to move around in your hand, but it's a nice detail. And I think there may even be some left-handers that might be okay with it just because it looks better. I might be wrong there, and I don't blame them if they disagree with me on that, because that could maybe be annoying. But as a right-hander, I love it. I like the extra little attention and stubbornness to detail. The action on this guy. First of all, it's got washers. I'm sure people have already watched reviews and they've seen there's washers in it. So I'm probably being a little redundant here, but I did not think this was going to have washers because when I think of washers, I think of that extra little flare and flash to get the action nice. And when I think of, I'm sorry, bearings, this is on bearings. And when I think of washers, I definitely think of more being the bend style, because washers are, they're a little more functional. You don't have to worry about gunk getting in the knife. And sometimes with bearings, if gunk can get in and little hairs or whatnot, dust, dirt, can get in, and you obviously can't really, yeah, you can kind of see it, the little balls in there. They can get in with the balls and then kind of just gum it up a lot more than it would with regular washers. So I definitely thought Ben would have went with washers. But opened it up and I saw the bearings, and that's nice because it makes this action buttery smooth is definitely the way to put it. Real easy with the thumb, and I can even spidey flick it with my middle finger really nice. And I'm not the best in doing that with thumb studs, just the roundness and my slightly bigger hands. It's hard to do sometimes, but I can do this all day, no problem, and that's really fun. So yeah, you can definitely index finger flick it, you can thumb flick it, you can, I'll be doing this a lot because that's just fun. It's just an extra little fidget factor that's really nice and very much appreciated on this knife. And yeah, it falls shut. Very easy to close the liner with the jimping sticking out. That's nice. You see it there, and you just grab it with your thumb and push it over, and it falls shut. So that is very, very nice. And real quick, too, I meant to do this at the beginning, but we'll just do it now because it's another bend touch that you guys have to see. So this is the box that came in here. Where did I cut it open? Here it is. So it's very typical We for the most part. You get the really nice pouch, you get the box, and then on the inside, Ben made his presence known with a really cool sticker. I wish more companies would put stickers of their knives or just cool stickers, because this is going on my Pelican case because it's awesome. Just looks just like the knife, and it's just, you can tell it's pretty good quality. It'll hold on the plastic surface of a Pelican case just fine. And then on the back, you have this little message here, which is all Ben. Oh yeah, your knife collection now includes this premium quality, blow your socks off We knife. It's called the Banter, and Ben Peterson designed it. It's the good stuff. Meticulously crafted in S35 VN steel with buttery smooth action and rock solid lockup. When we say made better, we mean it. Our manufacturing tolerances are crazy tight, and the knife doesn't leave our shop until it's wicked good. When I read that, I heard Ben saying it. We'll put it that way. I heard him saying it. So again, that's a cool little touch. It's an extra little personal touch. And when you see a knife like this, that you can really relate to the person. I've always heard that about custom knife makers. I'm an average Joe. I don't make a whole lot of money. Custom knives just aren't really in my thing. They're not in my realm of reality right now as far as what I can really afford. So to get this guy, knowing Ben and knowing how he is, and what gets him excited, what makes him tick, he put a lot of him into this knife, and I really, really appreciate that. Ben is really, one of the things that he always thought was neat when he was at Blade HQ, and he would reference it multiple times, making a knife yours, making it what you want, whether it be through, customization, however you do it, but to make a knife yours, to have a story behind it. This is definitely Ben's knife. There's a very good story behind it, and overall, he absolutely nailed this. I'm going to carry this guy a lot because it's very small, it's very compact, and I can probably carry this in probably not my fifth pocket, but it's just a great carry, and it's super versatile, it's affordable, and when you can really relate to the person making it, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. And I think that's what I really like about this knife, is you see the attention to detail, and you see the time spent on it, and just how much I'm sure he had a blast making this. So overall, I love it. I would take this over something like the Mini Bug Out any day, because it just has that extra little feel of thought put into it. So Ben, you nailed it, man. I'm really looking forward to hopefully the next knife you come out with, this better not be the only one, because you did too good of a job. You can't stop now. So that's it, guys. It sounds like these are going to be available at other places. The first run sold out really quick. When they start showing up at other retailers, hop on them, because if you like smaller knives, you cannot go wrong with this. It's a fantastic knife. It's definitely a contender for one of my knife of the years, the mid-range price knife of the year. Just an absolutely fantastic knife. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope everyone can pick one up, and I hope We keeps spitting these guys off, because they're gonna be it's gonna be a really good seller. So that's that. I hope you guys have a great day, and take care. Bye.